The Ballon d'Or is supposed to crown the best footballer on the planet. But almost every single year, fans end up as endless bickering about who actually deserved it. Some winners were completely undeniable, while others still spark debates years later. So today, we're ranking every Ballon d'Or winner since 2013 based on just one thing: how deserved the award really was. Every winner gets a score out of 10, with 1 being an absolute robbery and 10 being completely irrefutable, as well as 1 honourable mention of another player who could have won the award. Let's start with one of the most controversial Ballon d'Ors ever. 2013, Cristiano Ronaldo, 3 out of 10. Kicking things off, we have Cristiano Ronaldo in 2013, and I'm giving this one just a 3 out of 10. Now don't get me wrong, Ronaldo individually was phenomenal. He scored an unbelievable number of goals, carried Real Madrid for large stretches of the season, and looked like the best pure goal scorer on earth. If this award were based only on individual numbers, he'd have an incredible case. The problem is, the Ballon d'Or has almost never been judged that way. That year belonged to Frank Ribery. He was the centerpiece of one of the greatest club seasons we've ever seen, as Bayern Munich completed a historic treble, winning the Bundesliga, the DFB Pokal, and the Champions League. He wasn't just along for the ride either. He was one of Bayern's most important and consistent players from start to finish, combining creativity, work rate, and elite production on the biggest stage. The controversy only grew because the Ballon d'Or voting deadline was actually extended after the original cutoff, giving Ronaldo extra time to impress voters with a ridiculous run of performances. Ronaldo had an incredible year, but if team success and impact matter, and they usually do, this award should have gone to the French winger. 2014, Cristiano Ronaldo, 8 out of 10. After one of the most controversial winners, we get one that's much easier to defend. Cristiano Ronaldo's 2014 Ballon d'Or gets a 9 out of 10. This season was peak Cristiano. He scored goals for fun, shattered Champions League scoring records, and was almost impossible to stop in Europe. Whether it was long-range screamers, headers, free kicks, or tap-ins, he found every possible way to score. Real Madrid also finally captured a La Decima, their long-awaited 10th Champions League title, with Ronaldo finishing as the competition's top scorer by a massive margin. Could someone else have won? Sure. Manuel Neuer had one of the greatest goalkeeping years ever, winning the World Cup with Germany while redefining the sweeper-keeper role. But Ronaldo's combination of ridiculous numbers and Champions League dominance makes this a well-deserved Ballon d'Or. 2015, Lionel Messi, 10 out of 10. If 2014 was convincing, then 2015 was almost impossible to argue against. This was arguably the greatest version of Messi we've ever seen, which, if you know anything about Messi, you know that's saying something. He led Barcelona to another historic treble, producing goals, assists, and unforgettable moments every single week. This was the season of the iconic dribble past Jerome Boateng before chipping Manuel Neuer in the Champions League. The season where Barcelona's MSN trio completely overwhelmed Europe. And through it all, Messi was the clear heartbeat of that team. There really isn't much of a debate here. Neymar deserves an honourable mention after an incredible campaign and finishing as one of Europe's top scorers, but he wasn't Barcelona's best player. This Ballon d'Or was as close to unanimous as it gets. 2016, Cristiano Ronaldo, 9 out of 10. Cristiano Ronaldo makes another appearance, and this one gets a 9 out of 10. Individually, he once again delivered elite numbers, but what really separates this year is the silverware. Ronaldo captained Portugal to the first major international trophy in the country's history at Euro 2016 and followed it up by winning another Champions League with Real Madrid. Those are the 2 biggest trophies available, and he had defining moments in both campaigns. When you combine that with another outstanding goal-scoring season, it's hard to argue against him taking home the Ballon d'Or. Luis Suarez deserves a quick honourable mention after an incredible season, where he outscored both Messi and Ronaldo in La Liga while winning the European Golden Boot. But Ronaldo's combination of club and international success was simply too strong. 2017, Cristiano Ronaldo, 9 out of 10. Before we get into the chaos, we have one last winner that was pretty straightforward. Ronaldo's 2017 Ballon d'Or gets a 9 out of 10. This was another season where Ronaldo seemed to save his best performances for the biggest occasions. He wasn't scoring quite as much in La Liga as previous years, but once the Champions League knockout stage began, he completely took over. He scored against Bayern Munich, tore apart Atletico Madrid with a hat-trick in the semi-finals, and then scored again in the final as Real Madrid became the first team in the Champions League era to successfully defend the trophy. On top of that, he won La Liga, finally ending Barcelona's domestic dominance, and finished the year with another incredible goal tally. When your team wins both the league and the Champions League, and you're the driving force behind both, it's incredibly difficult to argue against you. Messi deserves the honourable mention after another of his usual ridiculous individual seasons, but Barcelona simply didn't achieve enough compared to Real Madrid. Cristiano gets a 9 out of 10. But now, we reach the Ballon d'Or that still divides football fans to this day. 2018 Luka Modrić, 2 out of 10. Luka Modric's 2018 Ballon d'Or gets just a 2 out of 10. I know that sounds harsh, but let me explain. Modrić absolutely had a fantastic year. He was the heartbeat of Real Madrid's midfield as they won a third straight Champions League, and then captained Croatia on an unforgettable run to the World Cup final, earning the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. That's an incredible resume. But here's my problem. If we're rewarding the best player on Real Madrid, I don't even think Modrić was that player. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 15 goals in 13 Champions League matches, finishing as the competition's top scorer for the 6th straight season. Without Ronaldo, Real Madrid simply don't win that Champions League. Then there's Antoine Griezmann. Griezmann won the Europa League with Atletico Madrid, scoring twice in the final. He followed that by winning the World Cup with France, where he scored 4 goals, provided 2 assists, and was phenomenal in almost every knockout match. He also won the UEFA Super Cup to begin the next season. Between Ronaldo's dominance in Europe and Griezmann winning football's biggest trophy while starring throughout the tournament, I just don't think Modrić had the strongest individual case. Was he deserving of being on the podium? Absolutely. The Ballon d'Or winner. For me, just a 2 out of 10. 2018 Lionel Messi, 2 out of 10. If you thought 2018 was controversial, 2019 is somehow even worse. Messi gets just a 2 out of 10. Individually, Messi, just like every other year, was unbelievable. He won another European Golden Shoe, finished with an absurd amount of goals and assists, and absolutely carried Barcelona in a way you'll rarely ever another single player do. But when you look at the biggest moments of the season, Barcelona fell short. They blew a 3-goal lead against Liverpool in one of the most infamous Champions League meltdowns ever before losing the Copa del Rey final just weeks later. Meanwhile, Virgil van Dijk had one of, if not the best defensive season we've seen in modern football. He led Liverpool to their 6th Champions League title, losing only 1 Premier League game all season, while helping his team finish on 97 points. He was named both UEFA Men's Player of the Year and the Premier League Player of the Season. And for an entire league campaign, he famously wasn't dribbled past once in one-on-one situations. Defenders almost never get the recognition they deserve. This was Liverpool's season, and most importantly, Virgil's season. If there was ever a season to finally reward one, this was it. Nobody is denying how unbelievable Messi was individually, but with all the factors considered, Van Dijk had the better overall season. That's why this gets a 2 out of 10. 2020, no winner, 1 out of 10. Then we arrive at the most frustrating Ballon d'Or of the entire list. There wasn't one. And for that decision, I'm giving 2020 a 1 out of 10. Because if there has ever been a player who deserved to win the Ballon d'Or, it was Robert Lewandowski. The Bayern striker was completely unstoppable. He finished as the top scorer in the Bundesliga, top scorer in the Champions League, top scorer in the DFB Pokal. He led Bayern Munich to a historic continental treble while scoring 55 goals in just 47 matches across all competitions. Every competition he entered, he dominated. The official reason for cancelling the award was the COVID-19 pandemic. But almost every major competition was eventually completed. Domestic leagues finished. The Champions League finished. Every player had the same circumstances. Instead of crowning one of the most obvious Ballon d'Or winners of the century, France football simply cancelled the award altogether. Lewandowski didn't just deserve to win. He deserved one of the easiest Ballon d'Or victories we've ever seen. A heartbreaking 1 out of 10. 2021, Lionel Messi, 7 out of 10. This next one is where I think my opinion differs from a lot of people. Messi's 2021 Ballon d'Or gets an 7 out of 10. I completely understand why so many people think Robert Lewandowski should have won after missing out the year before. But here's the thing. The 2021 Ballon d'Or wasn't a Lifetime Achievement Award. It wasn't compensation for 2020. It was supposed to reward the best player in 2021. Messi finally ended Argentina's 28-year trophy drought by winning the Copa America, where he finished as the tournament's top scorer, top assister, and best player. He also led Europe's top 5 leagues in assists, while once again putting up elite goal numbers for Barcelona. Lewandowski was phenomenal again, winning another Bundesliga title while scoring goals at a ridiculous rate. And if he'd won the Ballon d'Or, I honestly wouldn't have had a problem with it. But unlike 2020, this wasn't a robbery. There was a legitimate debate. That's why Messi gets an 8 out of 10. 2022, Karim Benzema, 10 out of 10. No debate here. Benzema gets a perfect 10 out of 10. This was one of the most dominant individual seasons we've seen from a Ballon d'Or winner in years. Benzema didn't just score a lot of goals, he scored them when Real Madrid needed them most. Hat-trick against PSG, hat-trick against Chelsea, hat-trick against Manchester City. It felt like every Champions League knockout round became the Karim Benzema show. Real Madrid won La Liga and the Champions League, and Benzema was clearly their best player throughout the run. He finished with over 40 goals across all competitions and delivered one clutch performance after another. Thibaut Courtois deserves an honourable mention after one of the greatest goalkeeping campaigns ever, especially his legendary Champions League final performance against Liverpool. But this award was always going to Benz, a flawless 10 out of 10. 2023, Lionel Messi, 6 out of 10. Now we get to the Ballon d'Or that probably generated the most arguments of the modern era. And before the comment section explodes, let me say this. Messi absolutely had a real case. He won the World Cup and was the tournament's best player, scoring in the final and delivering iconic moments throughout the knockout stage. If the Ballon d'Or heavily values the World Cup, then Messi winning makes perfect sense. But the reason I can't give this a higher score is because Erling Haaland had one of the greatest club seasons ever. Haaland broke the Premier League scoring record in his first season in England, won the treble with Manchester City, finished as the Champions League top scorer, and scored over 50 goals across all competitions. Historically, a player with those numbers plus a treble is usually considered an automatic Ballon d'Or winner. If this wasn't a World Cup year, the Norwegian dashes away with this award. In the end, I believe Messi did deserve this award, but it's easy to understand why City fans would feel hard done by. That's why it lands right around the middle, a 6 out of 10. 2024, Rodri, 7 out of 10, Rodri winning in 2024, was yet another very controversial one, but I actually think it's more defensible than many fans admit. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Rodri was arguably the most important player in the best team in the world. Manchester City controlled games through him, rarely lost when he played, and once again won major trophies. Where he really put the nail in the coffin was starring for Spain as they won Euro 2024, where he was named Player of the Tournament. The argument against him is obvious. Vinicius Jr. Vinny was electric in the Champions League, scored in another European final, won La Liga and the Champions League with Real Madrid, and produced the kind of highlight reel moments that usually sway Ballon d'Or voters. If Vinny had won, I'd have disagreed, but I wouldn't have thrown a fit like Real Madrid and their supporters did either. Rodri's consistency, control of matches, and success at both club and international level make this a perfectly reasonable Ballon d'Or, a 7 out of 10. 2025, Ousmane Dembélé, 9 out of 10. Finally, we have the most recent winner. Dembélé gets a 9 out of 10. For years, people questioned whether Dembélé would ever put everything together. In 2025, he finally did. He became the creative engine of one of Europe's best teams, delivered elite numbers, and produced huge performances in the biggest matches, as PSG completed the mythical sextuple. What impressed me most wasn't just the goals and assists, it was the consistency. Week after week, he looked like a genuine Ballon d'Or level player rather than just a talented winger with flashes of brilliance. Nuno Mendes deserves the honourable mention after a historic season at left-back, but this was the year of PSG, and Dembélé was the face of PSG, a strong 9 out of 10. So that's my ranking of every Ballon d'Or winner since 2013 based on how deserved the award actually was. Now it's your turn. Which Ballon d'Or was the biggest robbery of the last decade? Which winner do you think gets unfairly criticised? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear everyone's take. Leave a like or a dislike if one of my grades really frustrated you, and be sure to subscribe for more football discussions. I will see you all later.